Think,
Yay!
there we go.
Ed, we can't hear you. Oh, there's going to be a lot of editing.
Hmm.
No,
You're on mute, I think.
nope, nope. Is he going to come out and come back?
Yeah.
Oh, he is. I guessed. Okay,
Good one.
let's see. Well, how was your car? Oh,
There
okay.
we go. Okay. Oh, you're
All
the
right.
host now?
You'll be back. He
Yeah.
always comes back.
That's right.
I had this issue with a Zoom meeting last week where I ended up hosting and joining at the same time. So there
Oh,
were two
wow.
of me, which means we just got a ton of
Oh, there he
feedback.
is.
So I had to, yeah. I don't know how I managed to do that, but
Ed, can you hear us?
he's back.
Can hear you
Can you?
guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
All
yes.
right, here we go. Take two, like we did last time. Take two, take four. Hi, this is Ed Rising, and welcome back to Ed's Pop-O-Matic Podcast, a retro pop culture podcast where everything retro beats a new when you keep it in your heart. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the new Paul McCartney album, Boys of Dungeon Lane. We have a very talented group of people, and we may have some special guests coming along to join us. We have Gail Bajkowski. We have Fred Velez. Say hello, Fred.
Hello, Fred.
Hello, Fred. And Daniel Coston.
Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated, so it's good to see y'all.
It's good to have you here. And
It's
this has
good to
been a
have you
very,
anywhere.
it's good to have you anywhere, yes. Uh, it's been very interesting last week or two. McCartney's done a lot of press. Saturday Night Live. He did the Colbert Report last show. He's been all around the news media, doing a lot of whatever you want to call it, music media, doing a lot of things to promote this new record, and sometimes not even to promote the new record. But if you go online, you can kind of search up for a few things. But he's been talking about this album, and it's very excited to hear him talk about it, and even more exciting to listen to it. So the album is called The Boys of Dungeon Lane. It's been 5.5 years since his last album, McCartney 3. So it's a long wait. And I gotta say, in the early days of the release of this, before the release of the album, I saw a lot of reviews that were coming out in advance, maybe on the promo singles, "The Days We Left Behind" or uh, "Home to Us," which was the other single with Ringo. And I became a bit skeptical because everybody's screaming about, "Oh, this is great! This is wonderful!" And I kind of worried that they were just trying to be kind to the 84-year-old, nearly 84-year-old Beatle. Uh, but it's been worth the wait. Yay!
Yes. Yay.
So, what we'd like to do is talk a little bit about our first impressions of the album. We're going to go through the track listing and we'll kind of give our impressions on each track. And we're also going to talk about Ringo Starr's new album, Long, Long Road, which came out about, what, 2 months ago, Fred?
About almost it was about 2 months, right? At
Yeah,
least.
late April, I think.
Yeah, late April. And it's a very good album too. And there's songs on it on Ringo's album that almost thematically match with with Paul's.
Yes,
So
they
we
can be
took
companion pieces. Yes.
I know. I even did something. I put I put both albums together in shuffle, and they
Oh,
sort of lined up. You
Yeah.
know, there were songs on Ringo's that matched Paul's, and Paul's that matched Ringo's. So I thought,
Well, that's
wow,
a lot of fun.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
I'd love to hear that
Yeah.
playlist. So anyway, so why don't we get started? Gail, can you share your first impressions of the album?
Sure. I'm a streamer pretty much nowadays, so I don't, go out and buy the vinyl or CD or however they physically release it, but I was eager to hear it when it came out on May 29th. So it was the new album was my walking companion Friday morning, and it held up very well. To me it was a very pleasant listen. There weren't a lot of tracks that stood out to me one way or another, but I never had a point where I thought it was lagging or anything like that. And again, there's these things can be really eagerly anticipated, and sometimes you can find yourself a little disappointed with the product. I just think it's kind of true to form McCartney for a guy who, like you said, Ed, is approaching 84. Uh, Really, really impressive that he's still able to do this. And I don't like to compare, the things that he's doing now at almost 84 with the stuff that he did when he was 24. He's not the same person, and the world isn't the same place. So, as long as I can get a good listen out of this, I think it's a really nice thing to have.
Oh,
Totally agree.
Fred?
Yeah, I had the same impression when I first heard it. I ordered the CD from Target, but I got the digital version off iTunes because iTunes version has an extra song, which is a demo of First Star of the Night, which is pretty nice. It's not that much different from the version from the studio version, but it's still nice to have it there. But I was very impressed by it from the first song on, that there was a lot of good tunes, and the fact that it's thematically a concept album in which Paul is basically going through his memories for the most part, from the first song to Days We Left Behind to Home to Us with Ringo, and they sound great together. I know there's been a little controversy saying there's maybe a bit of auto tuning involved, but they got, as been mentioned, both Paul and Ringo are in their 80s now, so yeah, you want to hear them sing well, and you like to hear them do their natural voice, but maybe uh, the limitations of age don't allow them that liberty, so they have to use some help, like Ringo used to say with Keith Moon, we need our medicines, we need our medicine. And I
Daniel, would you
guess
like to add to that?
Again, really kind of, again, I've been streaming this record and really enjoying it. I don't hear as much autotune as I've heard on other records. I want, I'm gonna get stick for this, but like I hear it on this new Stones material. The Rolling Stones have a new record, and but I've been hearing that on Nick's voice for a few years. So on the whole, I think this is a really consistent record. I dare say I like it. I think I'm trying to what's the last record of his that I really liked or really kind of thought this is a really solid record. I thought about Chaos and Creation in the Garden. It's a really good record. It's just
Great record.
yeah, and just really consistent. I like that Paul's kind of mixing it up. Dare I say, I wonder if some going back and looking at Wings the last few years is kind of like influenced his thinking, because some songs do take some really interesting left turns, much in the way that Wings would do.
Yeah.
So I'm overall, I think this is obviously the theme is McCartney looking back at his life and
Yeah.
particularly not just Liverpool, but experiences from his childhood on. So I'm any day you get a McCartney record's a good day. But I'm really happy that he's done this, and the old guy still got it in him. So, but yeah, he's been doing a lot of press. I thought he was going to appear on this show. Come on, Paul. Come
We
on.
tried.
Yeah,
we tried.
yeah. Still waiting on you.
Gail was emailing him left and right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on,
We're
Paulie,
waiting.
come on.
maybe you'll surprise us as a special guest. You never know. But but yeah, Paul, I still need to talk to you. So yeah. But no, I really enjoy it, and very and much more diverse. That was the thing. The last few records, I felt like Paul kind of got in and said, "Okay, I'm going to go this way, and this is where I am, or this is what people are expecting." This one, it's just different songs that he's created over the last several years. Sometimes actually 20 plus. I think is it Lost Horizon goes back to the early
It
2000s.
goes back to the 90s, I think, right?
Wow. Okay.
Off
Yeah.
the ground
Yeah.
sessions, I think.
That's oh wow. Okay, that far back. Yeah. Again, it's I did have to laugh. I saw it's like 14 tracks. He's going back to the Parlophone days. Maybe he thought that Dave Dexter was going to edit it down to 12 and add the Coal Mine Echo, but
Yeah,
you never know.
15. Yeah, 15. You get the iTunes version.
Right. So yeah. But yeah, this has been it's been nice. I've been revisiting. I still need to listen to it all start to finish. I have been doing the semi-modern thing of listening to the songs individually, but they do hold up. So yeah, very very happy that just very happy that it's a good record. Yeah.
I'm glad then that's the funny thing you say about Happy. A lot of whenever he puts out an album, it's always the anxiety that I have. Is his voice gonna hold up? Is he
Yeah.
gonna write something that's gonna sound interesting? Is he gonna be lazy or whatever, And you worry about how people are gonna react to it. And like I said earlier, it's gotten some really good press thus far. Um, and as far as the auto tuning is concerned, if they made him sound like he was 24, like Gail said,
Mhm.
if they try to make him sound like he was 24, that would really be wrong. That would be upsetting because that would not be the Paul McCartney that we know today. Um, if they did any adjustment, and I'm sure they did, it's just to make his voice a little bit stronger here and there,
Mhm.
and to help him out. It's very interesting some of his vocal choices, though, and we can go through that a little bit as we go through track by track.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very happy to see that he's put out a record that means something to him, and it means something to us because we get a chance to see where his life has been, where his mind is at, and the fact that, 83, 84 years old almost, you know, he's able to create all these songs and make it sound like it's rocking, make it sound like it really has something to say. I was surprised about the collaboration with the producer David, not David Watts,
Andrew Watt.
Andrew Watts, Andrew Watt, um, and he's credited as co-writer on some of these tracks.
Mhm.
I have to look up more detailed as to what he actually offered in the collaboration. Anybody have
And
any idea about that?
Well, apparently, it was the first song. I think the first song they wrote together was, or he went to Andrews and came up with "As You Lie There," and then I think it was just sort of Paul would come to him, Andrew would go over to England and work with him. And so I think which again, this is something Andrews like produced the last two Stones records. He did the Elton John, Brandy Carlisle record. He's sort of like a very hot producer right now. But people do like working with him. This is one of the first times where I've seen that he's actually gotten gotten some co-writing credits. But I think my impression is that McCartney knew he was going to make this album with him, kind of with no deadline. So if they were like, if he would say, "Oh, I got this, I have this," or "I'm working on bits and pieces of this," it makes sense that they just kind of hashed it out together. So, and in my understanding, it's pretty much the whole record. The whole of the record is Paul on everything, continuing the theme from McCartney 3.
Yeah. He more or less plays everything on it, and then there's other musicians that come in and out. As far as the co-writing issue is concerned, though, um, it seems to me that through the years, Denny Lane being such a big part of Wings, the Beatles, George Harrison lending his guitar work, particularly the licks or the links In the end, I love her, and
Mhm.
that he actually could have gotten co-writing credit for that because
Mhm.
he wrote that that little melody, you know,
Yeah.
and yet he didn't receive those credits. So I find it curious that at this point in time, he's giving a co-producer that much writing
Yeah.
credit.
And technically, he hasn't written with anybody since Elvis Costello.
Right.
Yeah,
I've been wanting him to do more co-writing. I really like the work he did with Eric Stewart. So there's good songs there. So yeah, I would love to know more about it. It is about the only thing that I think Paul hasn't talked about in all these
yeah.
interviews that I've seen.
Oh yeah, he's done so many wonderful interviews and really opened up about a lot of different things. There's a one he did with a fella named it's the name's gonna go out of my head right now, but I will put it in the show notes for this for the when we release the podcast. I think I'm gonna release it on Wednesday, by the way. Wednesday would be the third,
Mhm.
and I'm
Right.
gonna release it then. But there's an interview he did that I thought was tremendous, and I'll put that in there. Um, and next writing partner should be Daniel Coston, in my opinion.
I'd be all for it, Paul. Call me. So and Ringo, I'll photograph your record too when Henry Diltz isn't available. Henry's the gov, and I will always get. I've lost a few gigs to Henry, and happy to do so. But again, if Henry's not available, you guys call me.
And all
And
I've
if
got is
Henry's
a photograph.
and if Henry's watching this, we love you, Henry.
Yes, Henry, we are big fans of yours, and we thank you for all the wonderful photos you've taken through the years, particularly of David Cassidy.
Yes.
Mhm.
So and Henry, I still haven't met you either. So yet. So again, call me.
Oh, he's a nice guy. Very nice
So
guy.
One of
Henry,
these days.
yeah, it just has not worked out yet. But Henry's one of the 5 photographers that made me want to do this.
I
All this,
bet you that, yeah, I
yeah,
bet you he would be an inspiration. Very
yeah.
cool.
Well, that was and we will talk about this later. We were talking about good times. I got to shoot the Monkees show in L.A. in 2016, somewhat because Henry was not available. So I can literally say I was Henry Diltz for a day.
And I
So
How
still
about
got
that?
my Pantages
Yeah.
tickets right there.
yeah, mine are over here. Yeah, yep.
I would love to hear that being released on CD or something like that,
The
or
Pantages
DVD or
show,
something.
no, the Pantages show was not professionally recorded, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a drag.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that it was videoed, but I don't know. I think it
But
was.
there's a lot of fan videos.
There's a
But
lot of
Yeah,
fun video and
I've seen
audio.
some of the videos on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Fred, while we're talking about the Monkees, why don't you share with us about the new release?
Yes, they've just reissued a 10th anniversary deluxe edition of the Monkees' Good Times album, their last really excellent album, um, up there with, I think, Headquarters and Pisces. And for the 10th anniversary, uh, which uh, goes along with the 60th anniversary of the Monkees this year, they not only released the original album, but they have a second disc of the 4 bonus tracks that were put out on various CDs, on digital, as a Record Store Day EP. So, and plus the instrumentals of all the songs on the album. This is almost like a karaoke
Yeah, that's
album.
cool.
Yeah. And it has the tracks that are recorded in the 60s in there. So you get to hear those tracks without the vocals on them. So
Yeah.
that'd be of interest. I know that Born to Follow, Wasn't Born to Follow is like a track, one of the extra tracks on the Birds and Bees box set. So
Mm.
you'll get to hear that track again. I think they polished it up even more for this release. So this is definitely worth getting. If you had not gotten this at the time, and why didn't you? Now's the time to get it, especially when it has all this extra stuff on it. My only uh, criticism, if you want to call it that, is I wish they had put in some of the demos of some of the songwriters that like Noel Gallagher
Yeah.
and Paul Weller and um,
Andy Partridge. Yeah.
Andy
Yeah.
Partridge, the
Rivers
late,
Cuomo,
Yeah.
right?
yes, the late Adam Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Um, if they could have put out some of the demos uh, that they had recorded, songwriters' demos, and we talked about the Pantasia show, maybe even if it wasn't like perfect, at least a couple of tracks that the good time tracks that were played at the Pantasia show would have
Yeah,
been great to have had them included on here. But
absolutely.
and if you go on YouTube, they have an official lyrics video of me and Magdalena. So look that one up. It's really cool.
But let me ask you a question. Isn't there a Peter Talk track on there? It isn't just I wasn't born to follow. Wasn't there another one that was also like another acoustic track that he did?
Yes, A Better World, which is one of the bonus
That's the
tracks.
one. It's on that album, right?
Yeah, it's on
That's
the
worth the album right there.
right there. You go. The four extra tracks are Terrifying, the fast version, and the original version of Me and Magdalena. That was recorded actually first before the one that everybody knows from the album. A Better World, which is Peter's song, which I think he wrote, and it's a very nice song, and Love's What I Want, and those tracks appeared on like the F for your entertainment uh, Good Times version,
Hmm.
and from the Japanese release of Good Times, uh, A Better World and Love's What I Want were on those albums and on those CDs. And on the Barnes and Noble vinyl of Good Times, an additional single was added, which had those two songs. And Terrifying and Me and Magdalena were digital only that you could get on iTunes. So, so to get all of them together in one CD package is great. It's also available in the streaming and download. So
Yeah.
if you don't want to get the CD, you can get those songs by going on iTunes or Amazon Music or wherever you buy your or stream your music, and they're worth listening to because they're really fantastic songs. And I wish some of them had been on the original album, but I think what it
Gail, you had
was,
the original album, right?
um,
Hmm.
Gail, did you have the original album?
Good times?
Yes.
No.
oh, go to your local record store.
Yeah, no, still was streaming already at that point. So yeah, I haven't bought a lot of physical media, but I wouldn't say that I wouldn't pick it up now for the 10th anniversary version. So
Hmm.
It's
I
There's
think,
some really good songs on that album,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, a
Uh,
lot of good songs, and again, a good song, it's always fun to hear an alternate version or an early take. It's kind of fascinating to sometimes to see the progress that the song went through. So yeah, I would absolutely consider it.
Mhm. What's interesting is that the bonus tracks were all produced by Andrew Sandoval, and
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Adam Schlesinger had produced the main album, and he didn't want those. While he liked the songs were good, he didn't. He Adam Schlesinger didn't feel they fit the themes of the original album, so
Okay.
they were left off as bonus tracks.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And this was the record that kind of sucked me into producing. I got to watch the record kind of built up from scratch. As you know, again,
Influential album. How about that,
yeah.
huh?
Thank you, Andrew. Darn you, Andrew. But and I literally from a distance got to watch this album get built up, track by track, song by song, and yeah, it totally sucked me in. And and again, you mentioned Me and Magdalene again. I remember the first time I heard that. I think it was one of the advanced tracks that they released, and oh my God, that was like, wow, this is really happening. This is hitting me again. When I was a kid and discovered the Monkees, that was the joy of Good Times. Was like, wow, this is happening again, and it's we as Monkey fans we had put up with Pool It, and I liked parts of Just Us, but it was like you always hope for that at least one more great record from your favorite
Sure.
artist, and man, Good Times delivered it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just want to point out something. This is the original Good Times CD, and here's the deluxe. Can you tell any differences?
Oh,
Ah,
look at that.
No.
Well,
Oh, one is in green. One
right,
says green in deluxe.
One,
That's it.
one's in living
and the other
color.
was in, and the other was in color,
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, different graphics on there, right? Yeah.
yeah.
and different
Yeah, some different
graphics.
graphics. Very nice.
So
And
that's another.
what are the difference? What's the deluxe as opposed to the
Well, I said
10th anniversary?
the deluxe has an extra CD which has the bonus tracks and the instrumentals of
I
all the
see.
songs.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff then there
Yeah.
to unwrap. Very
Oh
cool.
yeah.
All right. Um, all right, so let's move on now and get back to Paul McCartney, who's the main showcase tonight.
Oh, we're talking
Um,
about him, huh?
so we're talking about Paul.
That guy. Yeah.
That guy. That
Before we
guy.
go any further, do you have any stories about favorite albums, whether it's Paul McCartney or it's the Monkees or if it's uh Davy, whatever, something else, the Love and Spoonful or whatever that you particularly have enjoyed getting and any kind of funny odd stories about that?
Well, regarding Good Times, I remember the very first time I heard She Makes Me Laugh. I heard that song. I said, "It's the Monkees!" I practically yelled it to the roof from the rooftops.
Yeah.
It was that good, you know. That said, this is going to be amazing when I first heard that song. So, and the album itself holds up. You know, I know that "Me and Magdalena" is, I think, one of the most streamed Monkey songs up there. You know,
Oh yeah, it's a great song. Yeah.
hmm
And
So, and
I like the fact that it's Mickey and Mike singing it, you know.
yes,
Was
definitely. And
Mike didn't get to be on too many singles over the years, you know.
I know.
So
Um,
yeah.
what's great, and Dan was there, was the Pantasia show because not only was Mike and Mickey singing on that song, but Peter joined in on, was it banjo or guitar? I think banjo
Possibly.
on Me and
Yeah.
Magdalena.
And during you may I don't know if you were there at sound check, but there was one point Mickey had his back turned to Peter, and Peter just like put his back to Mickey, so they were like back to back, and we all went, "Oh, that's cool! Do that during the show." And they not only did it during the show, they did that through the rest of the tour.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
I
just
remember that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just so cool on stage. Yeah.
Oh,
hmm
good. Gail, any particular albums that you have a fond memory of receiving or anticipated getting or have a funny story about it?
There's several. One that was I did get albums as gifts from my older brothers often, and so those are kind of cool, and I can usually remember which ones because it was just kind of neat when they would buy me something. It was sort of acknowledging, my interest in this stuff because a lot of my albums I inherited from them when they left them behind when they moved out. So when they would buy me something, that was always kind of cool. But one that I was thinking about um, recently was when I purchased Asia by Steely Dan. Still one of my favorite albums. That was at that age, I think I was probably in middle school. So it would have been one of those situations where I saved my allowance and my babysitting money, and took the bus to the department store and bought the album and played it over and over and over and just loved it. And still love it. And
Yeah,
it was on my mind recently because I have a great niece who is just graduated from college and she's a huge Steely Dan fan. And we were just talking about
that's
that the
great.
other day
Yeah.
and we were talking about Asia. And I said, I just love when there's appreciation in another generation. It's
Yeah.
just very cool. So still a lot of fondness for that album. Still a really good listen.
Cool.
hmm
And Daniel?
When I was would have been Christmas of '86, my Aunt Jeannie gifted me all of her Beatles albums from Meet the Beatles to Magical Mystery Tour. So my mind has never been the same since. So remember that. And well, darn, if we couldn't get Paul McCartney, we get somebody who's just as good, and that is
We got the
Liverpool.
Queen.
We got the
Liverpool.
Queen. We're not worthy.
We're
We're
not
not
worthy.
worthy.
Ladies
Hello,
and
kid.
gentlemen.
How are you?
I'm doing great. We just finished recording things we said today, and Ken will be coming up in just a minute. So,
Oh,
Good.
but finally made it.
this is great.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank
Oh,
you.
glad to see you all.
It's good to see you too. It's the queen. It's an in joke, you know.
That's right.
Right now, we're sharing little stories about favorite moments of getting a new album. Maybe your anticipation of it, how it was after you received it. Do you have any kind of funny stories that you might want to share about that?
Well, I mean, I don't know about funny, but I love getting into a new album and all right, I'll do my show and tell here. It's a little hard to see, but I got the silver vinyl at listening party, the record store near me, and I love
Got-
this.
I got the
Ah,
iTunes.
and I'm thinking about getting that version too. But I just love. I'm glad I got this because I just love the whole ritual of opening it up, going through, looking at like the
Mm.
Yeah, right.
artwork, looking at the songs, the booklet that's in this. I mean, it's just a ritual that I'm like, man, I've missed this.
The great thing about albums, and I guess since vinyl albums are much more in vogue
Mhm,
in recent years, but
mhm.
for many years there was all CDs or cassettes or whatever's.
Yeah, not the
And
same.
I'm always missed that looking at that whole album and trying to look at all the album art or maybe if it was a one of those ones that opened up or whatever and all that.
Oh,
You
the
know,
gatefold, those were
it was
great.
it was like a Christmas gift, it was exciting,
Exactly. And I loved going through all the credits and I mean lyrics too, but certainly the credits because sometimes you'd see some really interesting, stuff in there, either messages, something funny or an artist that guested that you would never expect and
Right.
it's such great memories. So it's fun to get the vinyl to this one to
And as
Yes,
you know
Steve.
me, everything goes back to the Partridge Family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Gail will tell
I
you
know, Ed.
she
Yeah,
knows
I can
she
attest.
will agree with me because back in those days you had albums like Sound Magazine where
Mhm.
you were able to read who was involved in the music and
Yeah.
who
I
did
read
this and
that
who did that. And
back cover of that album over and over and over.
Do
And
you
there wasn't
Hmm.
a lot there, but yeah.
on a vinyl record? Do you guys read the runoff grooves for any little messages?
Oh yeah. Yep. That's
Yeah,
right. Yep.
those were
That's
fun.
yep. Absolutely. That's the thing. I mean, you would find just these little gems on their little, Easter eggs, as they would say now.
yeah.
It's just a great experience. I even, at the risk of sounding weird, the smell. I remember the
Oh
smell of
no,
a new album. You know what I?
uh, nothing like
Sometimes
the
it
smell
smelled
of
a
a new
little weird.
album.
Yeah.
The
Where do
two,
you buy your albums, Ed? What?
the two smells you like: the smell of a new car and the smell of a new album. There
That's
you go.
right.
Right. Mhm.
Exactly. Just can't get that from iTunes.
I
Yeah.
mean, you
Let me
get
just share one quick story about Flowers in the Dirt.
Hmm.
When Flowers in the Dirt came out, I didn't even know the album was coming out. And
Hmm.
one day I'm up, we had a pool in the backyard, and my brother and I are up there, we got the radio on, and one of the FM stations was doing a promotion for the album, and they're
Hmm.
playing the album, and I didn't even know this album was happening.
Hmm.
And I think McCartney was being interviewed during the course of it, and they played like the first line of this one. Did I ever take
Hmm.
you in my arms? Oh, da, 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 da. And I was like, this is the greatest song of all time. And my brother's like, well, you listen to at least the whole song before you make a judgment. I get too enthusiastic over these albums.
Oh, that's understandable. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember when Ringo and Paul were both on tour that year and Ringo for the first time, and they asked Ringo about Paul's new song. Oh, you mean My Old Face, right?
My old face. Oh my God. I
That's
got the
great.
cassette single
Oh my goodness.
My
Oh, me
brave
too.
phase. Yep.
Yes.
The cassette. Yeah, remember those?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
the singles.
The
Mhm.
singles.
Your
That's right.
singles.
Yep. And they had those small CDs, so you had to put the adapter on to play. And yeah,
Yeah, I
I
remember
don't. I have to
those.
admit, I don't miss those. That was a
Yeah, yeah,
pain.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm not
You-
into that.
To
Yeah,
snap these stupid adapters on. Yeah.
I'm still kind of peeved at Paul for the Flowers in the Dirt box set because he could have put all those bonus tracks on a CD, but he put them as digital download only.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kit, let me ask you, if you would share your first impressions of the new album, The Boys of Dungeon Lane.
Sure. Well, it wasn't quite what I expected, because, and not in a bad way, because when they dropped Days Left Behind and then Home to Us, I thought, oh, this is going to be like Chaos and Creation, maybe mixed with Memory Almost Full, and which I was totally fine with. I mean, I thought that'd be great. But then listening to the whole thing, that's not quite what it is. I mean, it's partially that, but it's also a mixture of other albums. There he is.
Yes, I
Ken,
There.
can.
There's
Hey guys.
our rather big surprise visitor. Thank you, Ken. How are you?
Hi,
Hey
Ken.
Daniel. Hi Fred.
Hi, how you doing? Congratulations to you and your wife Joanne for the anniversary. Oh, was
Oh,
it the
thank
anniversary
you.
or was her birthday?
Yes,
Oh,
it was her birthday. I should have said something on things we said today because so many people wrote to me because I was just joking. I don't know if any of you saw it. I said I have a dilemma.
oh yes, I did see that.
Paul McCartney's first new album in 5.5 years is being released today. This was Friday, and it's my wife's birthday. What takes priority? So a lot of people responded to that, but I was just joking.
Yes.
Because she's a first generation fan. She reminds me of that every day. And we spent the whole day Friday listening to the album and since then.
That's
That's so
cool.
cool. So what we're just doing right now, Ken, is that Kit is giving her first impressions of the new album, and then I'm going to ask you the same question. I'm going to ask you if you want to share any personal stories about albums that you were excited about receiving, or your first reactions to any particular album in your life that, you know, sets you over the moon or whatever. And then we're
Huh.
going to go track by track on the new album.
Okay. All right. Well, and just to sum up what I was saying, so yeah, this is a much more complicated album than I expected, more experimental than I expected. I mean, there's some stuff that Ken and I were just talking about this on our show, stuff that wouldn't sound out of place even on like McCartney 3. I did not expect it to be as wide-ranging, number of styles. And there's plenty of nostalgia, but there's also stuff about his current life, about Nancy and his relationship. So it's, yes, it's looking to the past, but it's also about where he is now. So that kind of surprised me too. So yeah, not quite what I was expecting.
It's cool. And Ken,
Well, I remember just saying right now on things we said today that I expected this album because of Days We Left Behind to be closer to Chaos and Creation and having that feel to it. And some of it is, but some of these songs can fit on almost any album that Paul has released in the 2000s. Some of them
yeah.
could work on Memory Almost Full, a song that has a very breathy vocal, like First Star of the Night. That could have worked on Kisses on the Bottom. There are songs that could have worked on Egypt Station or New or McCartney 3. It's kind of like a sampling of different styles that he's had from his albums from the 2000s. So it wasn't what I expected. Yeah, like Kid said, a lot of it's nostalgic, but a lot of it is looking forward. And I like the variety on it, although we can debate. I don't know how experimental I would say this album is. Maybe we can go back and forth, Kid, because to me, the only, and it shouldn't even be a disappointment about this album is that everything that he's done, with the exception of As You Lie There, having that spoken word intro, which is unique for him, um, seems like something he's done before in the past. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because
Right.
it's not like an album has to be groundbreaking for it to be great. As
Mhm.
long as the songs are really strong, that's all that really matters to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And I like all but one song on the album right now, and that could change.
Mhm.
So
Right.
Ooh, Ken doesn't like a Paul song. Oh boy.
it's possible.
And
How many times have I knocked gratitude on the podcast? Get
Yep. Many
That's my
times.
one of my
Many
least
times.
favorite Paul songs.
Yep.
all right, so let's get started. Which is a Paul McCartney song. Daniel, I'm going to start with you. Let's go with as you lie there. What was your impression of the song?
I I did like this one. Again, it's interesting to see when someone like Paul kind of looks back on something in his life, and there's a lot of different emotions in that song. And I guess my understanding is, and guys correct me on this, that this is one of the first songs, if not the first song they recorded. So
Yes.
it just kind of helps set the tone for what you're going to hear on some of the rest of the record. As someone who's spent some time recently looking back on my own life, yeah, it was that one. This was actually this is one of my favorites on this new record.
Cool. Gail?
Same track? Are you?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
on as you lie there.
Yeah, yeah, I pretty much what Daniel said. I think it's a good album opener. The reflection aspect of this is really interesting. It's a little poignant, and it's I just thought it was a really good listen.
And Fred?
I liked it when I first heard it, and I found the spoken intro very nice. Uh, and the fact that it's a rocker and he's screeching the lyrics, and I'm saying, Paul, your voice, you know, you know. But I guess that, correct me if I'm wrong, that might have been an instance of the auto tuning, I mean, because I know we've heard raw recordings of Paul live, and we're concerned about his vocals, and that's what was my first thing when I heard the screaming on it, but it works for the song. So I don't know how much auto tuning was used on it, but it does work, and it was good to hear the Little Richard version of Paul McCartney on this song.
Hmm.
Like it?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit of a rebel here that I wasn't insane about the spoken parts. I give him credit for trying something a little different because I can't recall him starting another song like that. Um, I don't know. It just was there was just something a little, I don't know, flat in his reading for me. Now the song itself, I actually liked the screamy parts, for lack of a better word, the best. I mean, I was shocked in a way when he started on that. Yeah, part of me, like Fred, I was thinking too, like, oh my God, preserve your voice. But on the other hand, boy, he sounded great. I mean, I was just stunned, at how good he can, how well he can still sing in that, register. And that part really stuck, not just because of his register, but just the whole, the whole kind of yearning and all part of that song. But yeah, the spoken part, I'm still kind of on the fence about. Don't absolutely love it, but it certainly does fit the tone of the rest of the album that it is, looking back.
Well, at the same time, that part also tells you this is not the record you totally were expecting.
And that's the other thing.
Hmm.
That is very true.
Yeah,
And Ken?
I love the song a lot. I do like that spoken word intro. Um, I gotta tell you something. I can't swear that there's no auto tuning here. I think I have a decent enough ear to pick it out, but my wife is really good at picking it out because she has perfect pitch. And she told me that whenever there's auto tuning in any music, she gets a ringing in her ears and a really bad headache. And she didn't experience that at all here.
It's
I
good, no
mean, Paul,
headache.
no, but it does happen. If we're in a
Yeah.
restaurant and we've
Mhm.
got music playing over the speakers that has auto tune, it affects her,
Oh, geez,
you
that's
know?
interesting.
So she would know, I think, if there's any at all, it's got to be so slight.
Yeah.
Now he has used auto tune on something like For You,
Right.
something like that, but I don't think there's auto tune at all on this album.
Whatever they did with it, I think they just works with his voice now.
Right.
Maybe it just,
Yeah.
maybe it just sweetens it up a little bit here and there, but I
But
don't think it detracts from from anything.
I
And
just
some,
want to say that particular song, when he's screaming and he's on the same note, it's a lot like Nod Your Head.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's immediately what I thought when I heard that
Hmm.
song.
Yes, me too.
I totally
So,
That's
agree.
funny.
so there you go back to Memory Almost Full. So that's,
Right.
Right.
yeah.
So I just want to share with you that I loved the fact that it's a poem. And he's talking about, first of all, talking about somebody that he knew 70 some odd years ago, or maybe, somewhere in that ballpark. And, this unrequited, never quite a love affair, but it's someone that he fancied, obviously. And to have to actually remember that and to want to think, do I ever cross your mind? And I love the echo part. So that was just really very cool, very well produced. And the way that it goes into the electric guitar, how that comes in and is screaming rocker. It's a screaming rocker. It sets the album off on a really good note. Um,
Ed,
yeah.
that's a good point about the echo that you mentioned, because to me it was almost like in old TV shows when they would show flashbacks and you'd
Yes.
see the that kind of swirly effect. To me, that's
Yeah.
what it was like. It was
Yeah.
like, do I ever cross your mind? And then, he takes us back to his memories
I
of
just had this thought right now. This song sort of thematically is linked to No Reply when you think
Mhm.
It's
when you think about it.
Mhm.
Interesting.
seeing her in the window, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Mhm.
This
Uh,
happened once before.
Yep.
Fred, any thoughts on Lost Horizon?
I haven't heard the album enough times to have an opinion of all the songs. So I remember
You didn't do
liking it
your
when I heard it.
homework. You didn't do your homework. I gotta give you a D minus on that one there.
Can I catch up with AI?
AI says the album is
You
great.
No, I like the song. I like the song. Just to remember aspects of it, but I'll come back to me on that one.
I will. I will. Daniel?
I like this one too, and actually, it to go from As You Lie There into Lost Horizon I thought was a really good choice. It kind of, again, an album is a journey. That's the things that we love about everything about albums. It's the journey, and that 1-2 punches really sets you up for the journey. So yeah, again, kudos to Eddie Klein, his late friend, who found this on a tape and said, you got to do something with this. So yeah, very
And
good.
Gail?
Like Fred, I haven't given this whole album the critical listen that I'd like to, so I don't have
Uh,
notes on this one.
Gonna give you a D minus,
Yeah.
kid.
Okay, well, I did, but the dog ate it. So
And we got to go to the study hall.
yeah. All right, I'll see you there, Fred.
Ken, I trust I trust that you've heard the song.
oh yeah, I listened to the album. I've listened to the album 10 times now. I wanted to make sure I'd be ready before I did my podcast on things we said today.
Teacher's pet.
Lost Horizon it was a song that took me quite a while to even get to know. I mean, even after 5 listens, I couldn't remember how it went. But I think it's a really good, solid rock song, mid-tempo, a good follow-up from As You Lie There.
Yeah.
It's good. It's worthy of being on the album. I don't think it's an outstanding track, but it's a good, solid one.
Cool. And Kit?
Yeah, I would agree with Ken. It wasn't as much of a standout to me as some of the others that we'll get to, but I do like that idea of sound bringing you back to parts in your life. Who can't relate to that? I mean, that's, whether it's music or in his case, train whistles and things. I mean,
Right, right.
so I really like that concept
Yeah, me
of
too.
the lyrics. But I agree, it was a fine track, but not one of the big highlights for me.
Yeah, it's interesting when you hear certain sounds and it evokes certain feelings inside you. And he's writing about that, and that I thought was an interesting idea for a song.
Hmm.
I like
And the
it.
fact that I thought that it bounced off very well as almost a continuation
Yeah.
of as you lie there.
Hmm.
Here I'm thinking about you, and are you thinking about me? And now I'm thinking about a fairground, or I'm thinking about a train whistle, or this and that kind of thing. And it just kind of moved the album along very nicely.
Hmm.
It's
Fred, I'm sorry.
uh, what's very funny about As You Lie There, when we were talking on our podcast, Alan Kozin had said that it's funny that Paul's saying, "Do I ever cross your mind?" He's Paul
Hmm.
McCartney. Do you think that the woman is not going to be thinking about Paul McCartney all these years?
I could remember
But she,
Mrs. McCall.
do
I
I
could have
ever
been
cross your
Linda.
mind? Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think she remembers.
Good
Anyway,
Lord. So the next track is Days We Left Behind, which
There
we've
you
all
go.
heard over the last few weeks. So, um, just quickly, for me, um, it's a nice tribute, of course, to Liverpool and to um, uh, uh, the days with George and Ringo, George and John, and later Ringo. Um, there, my thought is that he's never mentioned his brother Michael in any of these interviews. And I would imagine that he would also be one of those boys of Dungeon Lane, and that they would have had adventures, or they would have, you know, it would have been a topic that you would think that he would be writing about a little bit. And he has that come across any of your minds?
That's a little bit for
Similar
me.
idea.
Yeah, because like in a number of interviews, he's showing photographs
yeah.
of the family, and many of those were taken by Mike. So I think how what's the age difference between Mike and Paul? Is it
I
Paul's
think
the
it's only a
older.
year to 2 years
yeah?
difference.
Because it is interesting. I mean, in some ways, Mike's closer to George's age, but I guess you don't. Some people bond with their brothers in some ways, and I think Paul was that little bit older and was kind of seeking out other people, even if again, it is interesting. But yeah, Mike was always the guy that was hanging around, and thankfully he took a lot of pictures, and they're very good. So it is interesting. Yeah, Mike has not gotten a lot of mention, but it is a lot of his photographs that you're seeing in the promotional materials for this.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on Days We Left Behind?
I
Oh, for
think
me?
it's, oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry. Was
sorry.
that me?
I think,
Gail.
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty much what you guys are saying, same thing. It's to me, it was nicely sentimental and a little poignant without getting maudlin. I was afraid actually this album as a whole could kind of go in that direction, and it didn't for me. So again, this is the one I think, like most of us, we've heard the most. Is this the one he performed on SNL, I think?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's a really nice I don't know, would you call it a timepiece or
Mhm.
but it's really suitable to the point in his life and his career that he's at now.
Cool. Ken?
I think it's brilliant. I think it has the possibility, if the public gets to know it well, for it to become a classic. Everything about it is wonderful. The very simple arrangement of guitar and the guitar solo in it. I love his falsetto vocals, which work really well. And just the sentiment in the song about, things in the past, like nothing lasts forever, but nothing can take away the memories that you have.
Yeah.
Um, it's a beautiful sentiment right there. Um, One of the things that I read one person say about this album, and it's true that we didn't talk about the previous show, is that almost every single song is short.
Mhm.
Just about every song is 3 to 4 minutes long. And in some ways, it really works that way because no song overextends its welcome. When you're when you're done listening to Days We Left Behind, you kind of want to hear it again. It doesn't go on too long. And I think just being the 3 minute, 10-second song it was is
Yeah.
just right. Everything about the whole arrangement, a very simple arrangement, works for that song. And the words are just wonderful.
Yeah, they are. Kit.
Yeah, this was the song, and of course the first single that came out, and that's what made me think, oh, this is going to be like Chaos and Creation, because this song definitely would not be out of place there. Yeah, I really, it kind of, we were talking about on things we said today that it touches a little bit on some themes that Ringo explored on Long Long Road, particularly the song Long Long Road, basically saying change is the only constant. And
Mm.
so, there are a number of lines in this, about looking back at white and black reminders of my past, smoky bars and cheap guitars, but nothing built to last. None of these memories are going, these times are not going to last forever. And I just think that's a really amazing sentiment. And the other one I really liked was "See the Boys of DungeonLane along the Mersey shore. Some of them will feel the pain, but some were meant for more." I mean, kind of the sense that he knew something else was in store for him and other select people that he grew up with. So it's as I said, it's about change, but it is also about memory. And I agree with Ken. This is, I think, one of my favorite tracks. Not
That's
only one of my
beautiful.
favorite tracks on the album, but one of my favorite songs from Paul in a while. I just think this is stunning.
Mm.
Cool. And Fred?
I loved the song the first time I heard it. I thought it was so beautiful. And for me, it's one of the three, this song is one of the three tearjerkers on this album. It brings back memories and one that you could relate to because everybody goes through memories of the past, people you've known. There are there are people, all that song, that other one.
Oh, that one, yes.
Yeah, that one. But no, it's true. And when I heard this song, it made me think about my own life and
Yeah,
people I knew from my past, some who are still with me, some are gone, sadly.
yeah,
And it brings back those type of memories. And uh, this Paul must have really like dug in deep to put this song together. And I agree with Kit and everybody else. This is not only one of the best songs if not the best song on the album, but probably one of the best songs Paul McCartney's ever written. And he's written
Oh,
so many great ones.
yeah. Cool. All right, so let's move on to the next track, which would be Ripples in the Pond. That's a really nice pop rocker. Daniel, what do you think of that one?
This was a good one. This again, this is one I have listened to this, by the way. I have done my homework. I have just not listened to it as much as the others, but I do. It's a good. It's always difficult in song sequencing to find a good song for because you want to bring people down a bit, bring them back up. This thought is a good job, particularly in the album placement. If you're just again, I'm looking at the track list, but I do not know is the album track list the same or different than the CD digital track list.
It's
think it's the
I
same.
got
I'm not sure.
I've got the iTunes in front of me, and it's following
Okay.
the track listing. So I guess it's the same.
Yeah. So I mentioned that too. So I've been working. Some of you will know I'm working with the Strawberry Alarm Clock on their new album, and their
Plug,
vinyl.
plug, plug, plug,
Plug,
plug.
plug. Yeah, on August. Thank you very much. Their vinyl track list. It's double gatefold vinyl with no side one. God bless. It's like they're doing it, but it's a completely different track list from the CD and album. So it is. Sometimes it works, but you do have to ask these days. But no, I like Ripples in the Pond. It's a good setup for the next few songs you're going to hear.
Okay. And Fred?
It's a nice pop tune. Also, I agree with Daniel. The title kind of ripples in a pond and sort of remind me of the track from the Who's last album, Who, Beads on a String. It's almost the same title. It's a good pop song too, and it's good to hear good pop coming, these days in songs, especially when you hear so much modern pop, which is not as good,
Okay. And Gail?
I agree with everybody else. Nothing to add. No notes.
Okay. And Ken?
This particular song takes me back to either the new album or the Egypt Station album, because both those albums had a lot of bonus tracks. And sometimes the bonus tracks could be even better than what's on the album or just as good. And there were a few songs in particular that were really well-crafted pop 3-minute songs, like Turned Out from the new
Hmm.
album, or Get Started from Egypt Station. This song is just like those songs. It's
Yeah.
just the same mold as those songs. So this is what I mean when I say there's a little bit from the different albums of the 2000s here. Very well done, deserves to be on the album. Very enjoyable, very catchy. Great guitar parts in there, usually great harmonies. Very similar to the songs I just mentioned, and just as worthy of listening to it.
And Kit?
Yeah, definitely a pleasant rocker, and I really like that image of ripples in a pond because when you think about it, it's creating these ripples that the more you throw stones or whatever in a pond, the ripples get bigger and bigger as as there's distance and you think about, I mean, that's of course he's drawing that analogy to his and Nancy's.
And what do the ripples represent? Yeah. They
You
represent
know,
their life. They
the
represent an argument. They represent this or they represent that,
Yep, and their love, and I thought that was a really nice image,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's not really one of my favorite tracks on here, but it's a nice rocker, and as I said, really love that image.
I really enjoyed the phrasing.
Hmm.
Now, I don't have the lyrics in front of me, but it's da 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 da. Just the way he phrased all that and the way he's saying that, I thought he did a really nice job with that. I thought that sounds very poppy to me. I maybe it could be a hit record in maybe another dimension when, you know. Now that brings us to Mountaintop, which is a very controversial track. And so, Ken, I'm going to start with you on that one. What do you really think of that one?
Why do you think it's controversial?
Hmm.
Because it's sort of going back to 1967, in a way, and do you think that would be my impression of the song? Let me throw it out my impression first, and then you can respond to it. It's sort of like he's going back to Pepper, and he's sort of trying to write more psychedelic ideas behind it. It sounds very much out of place as far as where we are today, but I can get it because he liked that kind of stuff back in the day.
Well, I like the effects that were put on Paul's voice.
Hmm.
I like the psychedelic feel of the song. I don't think it's the greatest melody he's ever written.
No, it's not.
It's very simple.
Right.
Um, but I do like the weirdness of it. And I love the jam at the end, although it's way too short. It's only like 30 seconds. I wish he
Hmm.
would go for a few more minutes jamming.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I like it. It's certainly not the strongest song on the album for me, but it deserves its place.
Cool. All right. And Kit, what do you think?
I'll tell you, I've talked about this. I think I talked about it on Talk More Talk, and I'm not sure if I've talked about it yet on Things We Said Today. I love Weird Paul. There's got to be at least one Weird Paul track on every album, and here we go. This is the one. Now, I agree. It's some of it is definitely Pepper-esque. The harpsichord at the beginning, and even some of the lyrics very Lucy in the Sky with diamonds-ish. Pumpkin pies in the skies and that kind of stuff. But I really liked and as Ken said, I liked the effect on his voice. I mean, it really, you just felt like you were on a journey as you were listening to this song. It would take all these twists and turns, and then that full-on jam at the end. I
Yeah.
mean, love that. And I think I agree with Ken. It could have gone on a little longer, that ending jam. But I just thought it was very cool how it took you on this journey, and the fact that he's almost 80 friggin' four and he's writing stuff like this. Good for him. I mean, yeah, it's actually one of my favorites. I'm not saying best thing he's ever done or anything like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
but I enjoyed it
It is
for
fun.
what it
Cool.
is. Mm-hmm.
Gail, what do you think? What did you think of it?
No notes.
No, it's nothing. You
No.
haven't gotten to it yet.
No, again, haven't done a deep, serious listen to the album, so I don't have a track by track impression. So
Okay.
pass.
Well, like I said, if you're up for it, I'll ask you anyway. But if you don't, that you'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
Fred, what'd you think?
Mountaintop, this is like cosmically conscious, I think.
Yes.
It has that feel to it. And yeah, as I understand it, was written with the perspective of a young girl attending a
Oh, it was like Coachella or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
concert.
I think we lost
Like
Fred.
No, he's
one
back.
was like Coachella or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, no. Hi. Okay. As I was saying, I think it was written in the perspective of a girl attending a big rock festival like Coachella
Mm-hmm.
or Glastonbury
Mm-hmm.
and tripping out on the music and all that kind of stuff. And it's just all these images that come together in this one little song. And like I said, Cosmically Conscious is a song that comes to mind when I hear this. And anything from Pepper or Magical Mystery Tour, I think, would be similar to it.
Okay, and Daniel?
Well, it's way better than Return to Pepperland, so that's a good start right
Oh
there.
no. No
Uh-oh.
way.
Uh-oh.
Are you out of your mind? Return to Pepperland is the best unreleased song that Paul has released. I mean, Paul never put out. He
Mm-hmm.
should have put it out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's
So
better than When We Was Fab.
Mm-hmm.
when we was sad was amazing, and that
Oh, yeah.
God. But no, as somebody who's a left bank devotee, bring the harpsichord any dang day in my world. So
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, no, really good. Again, I'll agree with Ken. I like the jam. I wanted more of that, and yes, more Weird Paul, please. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Weird
I love
Paul's
the
the best.
harpsichord on it too. That made me smile because of the being a Partridge Family fan. I love the harpsichord, so
Mhm.
it's very cool.
Mhm.
So I gotta get it in there, kid. I can't help it.
I
you
know. I'm like, wow, this is like we need to have a drinking game or something. How many times Ed mentions Partridge Family, take a shot. Yeah.
Since, since I haven't been on your shows when you talk about the Partridge Family, let me stick my 2 cents in. Is
Please.
that a harpsichord at the beginning of Summer Days?
That's a piano, I think, or electric piano at the beginning.
Oh, it sounds kind of
It does sound like a
harpsichord.
harpsichord tack piano, something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, whatever.
yeah.
It's a great song,
Whatever.
though.
It is a great song, yes.
Yeah.
Next track on the McCartney Boys of DungeonLane album is called Down South. And that's his memories with George. Fred, what do you think?
I think that's a great song because it gives you a little perspective of the relationship between Paul and George, you know, and they shared this moment together, going down to hitchhiking to France together. I mean, at first I thought, is it supposed to be about John and Paul? No, it's Paul and George. And I thought, wow, this is interesting because you don't get that much perspective of Paul and George together, but they both attended the same school, and so they had a lot in common right there. And Mean Mr. Mayo had talked about this, and one of the things he says the song is too short.
Hmm.
He would have loved if there was another minute of lyrics or something in the song, but he also pointed out that it ends just right. It leaves you wanting more, you
Yeah.
know. So it's one of those songs that gives you another more insight into Paul, especially in regards to his relationship with George Harrison.
Right. Daniel, any thoughts?
I like this. This is more stripped back. It's almost like you're sitting there with him as he's playing this song, which I like. And this is it's like a personal memory. So yeah, again, yeah, I like. They're all, especially after coming out of Mountaintop, you come into this. So no, I enjoyed this one.
Cool. And Kit?
Yeah, I like this reflection on him, George. I mean, you can just see them, in your mind as you're listening to this hitchhiking together and trying to figure out where they're going to stay and all. The only thing I didn't love in the song was when he's saying, about being on the bus, and we all know this story. They met on the bus, he and Georgia talk about rock, and then he said, before we learned to twist and shout. I thought that was a little corny. I'm really sorry. I just think, that's like what Ringo and Mark Hudson did, when they were collaborating, would work in these little Beatles references and all.
Right,
and I just
right,
thought,
right.
I don't know if you really needed to do that, Paul.
Yeah, how many times?
That kind of made me screech to a halt when he sang that.
Yeah, how many times can Ringo reference "It Don't Come Easy"?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, right.
At least that's his own song.
The first time was great on Time Takes Time. After that.
Yeah, he really likes to do that. That's very true.
Well, he's very proud
Gail,
that that's his song.
do you want to share anything on this one?
No, you know what? I'll just jump in if I have something.
Okay, cool. And Ken?
I agree with Joe Mayo. It's too short, this song. I really love it. The fact that it's just him and an acoustic guitar. I can easily see him when he tours again in his acoustic set, just doing this one.
Oh
Do
yeah.
this and then here today, and then you've got George and John covered. I love the lyrics. I don't mind the twist and shout reference. I kind of like it when he's playing around with his voice and he sings, it was a good way to get to know you. Like that. I love that. But it's a fun song, and he never really writes about George, so it's nice to have something like that. I mean, he did what was a song on Chaos and Creation that
Friends to Go?
Friends to Go
Yeah.
was done like in a style of George, but not
Mhm.
necessarily thinking of George.
Mhm.
It's not a song about George, but it's nice to have a song written about him, about the two of them.
I always thought when I heard that song, because there was, I guess his first release after George passed,
Mhm.
if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And so when he said my friend is on the other side, that he was referring to George being, and then a great beyond or whatever. And so that made me think of that when I heard that song. So the next track is going to be We Too. We Too, which I'm under the impression it could either be about him and John, could be him and Nancy. I'm not quite sure exactly. It's a friend, and he also says how much he loves that person. And he's very comfortable with saying "I love you" these days. So, Ken, what did you think the song was about?
I thought it was about him and Nancy. It could go either way, but I really think overall he's writing songs for Nancy. I believe uh, Ripples in the Pond was about their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this particular song was one of the sleepers on the album for me. It didn't grab me at all. It took me a lot of listens to get to like it. It's fairly simple. Not that much flash around it. Simple melody. I do like the guitar playing, the lead guitar playing in it. And eventually the melody caught on with me and I've grown to like it. But it's a pleasant song. I'm happy that it's there. It's not one of the strong songs on the album for me.
Yeah. Okay. Daniel?
I'll agree with what they said. So yeah, and one thing I've in listening to these songs, you're very aware that this is Paul McCartney. A lot of these songs, obviously, it's a lot of his personal, and he's writing about his past. But like, this is one of those songs where, yeah, it could be about Nancy, it could be about John, but it really could be any person in your own life. So
Fred, could you show Daniel the album that we're doing tonight, so that he knows that we're doing Paul McCartney?
I'm sorry, Paul hasn't done any press recently, so I don't know. Yeah. So it's, but it's something you sometimes as a fan you go, okay, well, okay, he's writing about himself, or he's writing about something that I can also apply to my own life. So this is one of the songs that for me, like, I definitely could apply the lyrics to this to things that have been going on in my world. So I'll say
Very
that.
cool. Very good. Very nice. Okay, Kit, did you want to offer anything?
Yeah, just that I'm kind of I'm in an earlier stage of the song than Ken is, that I'm still it just didn't grab me like some of the other songs on the track, but maybe the more I listen, the more I'll you know get to like it a bit more. It's nice. It's a nice, pleasant track. And it
Yeah,
is kind of interesting how part of it seems to be about John. The line about seeing the person in his dreams. I mean, you could interpret it that way. And then, of course, the second half of the song definitely sounds like Nancy.
Yeah.
So, but as Daniel said, this could you could apply it to your own life in many
sure.
ways. So, so maybe he meant to leave it kind of ambiguous in that sense. But yeah, it's nice. It's just not a big highlight for me as of yet.
Yeah, when you think about it, Paul doesn't write until, except for more recent years,
Hmm.
didn't really write a lot about his personal life. And so
Yeah.
it is interesting that, we're at least I think we are dissecting to some degree that this is about George, this is about John, this is about Nancy, this or this or that. When, he's spent a long time trying to put together songs that could reflect on anything that, you know, may or may not reflect his actual life.
Yeah,
Fred, did you want to offer something? Oh, I'm sorry, Kit.
Oh no, I was just going to say that, and I'm trying to remember. Paul said in one of the bazillion interviews he's been doing recently, but I like how he said that he said to Andrew Watt, is one of the lines and song in the album mentions Forthland Road, and he said, "Oh, maybe I better change that. People aren't going to know. Some people may not know what I'm talking about." And Andrew Watt said, "Everybody has a Forthland Road."
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
and I really thought, yeah, that's what a lot of this album is. It's trying to address these, yeah, there is memories, but there are also personal, themes that anybody can relate
you
to.
relate to it, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And Fred?
I agree with everybody else here. The song. Uh, well, you go back to Paul after the Beatles. All of his love songs at the time were for Linda, and then after Linda was gone, then you had him reminiscing about other things, like going back to Here Today was about John and other things. And then uh, the current album has a song about George. So yeah, this, like you guys mentioned, this is sort of ambiguous. It could be about John, it could be about Nancy. And the line you said about Fortland Road made me think, yeah, that's true. Everybody has their Fortland Road. I have my Lower East Side that I remember. You guys have whatever place you grew up in
Right.
to reference this too. So yeah, I agree with the sentiments in this song as well.
Very cool. All right, so then we move to the next half of the album, which opens up with a really solid rocker, called Come Inside, which I happen to like very much. Um, I think his voice is very strong here. It's probably something that he could have done within the last 20 years on any of his albums. Um, um, I mean, I like the piano and the hand claps in the middle of the song where he's all singing "Open Up Your Mind." That was very cool. I like the hand claps and the piano. Um, so, Ken, what do we start with you? What were your thoughts of that album, of that song?
Oh, absolutely love it. It's one I hope he does live when he gets back
Yeah,
on the road. Um, yeah, it's nice to have a few rockers in there, and this one is just very well done. And I love his voice on it. He's hitting high notes. He's harmonizing with himself on high notes. He's screaming. in the song. I love that. It's just proving that he still can do it, maybe not with the same regularity as he has in the past, but yeah, I think it's a really solid tune, and kind of wish that the stations that are not the radio stations that are not likely to play him, and most of them wouldn't because of his age. A lot of them are not going to play the real softer side of him. But if they want something edgy, pick this song or As You
Yeah.
Like It. Not As You Like It,
As you lie there.
As You Lie There.
Yeah.
Daniel?
Um, yeah, great side two opener. I will say too that again we've started to have diminished expectations of Paul because of what we've heard live. I have wondered sometimes if his voice issues live isn't so much where his voice is. Obviously, he's gotten older, but I don't think he's not using in-ear monitors. And I've wondered if he struggled to hear himself sometimes on stage. And if he's allowed to have the setup he wants, and that's good. But this song makes me think, yeah, there's still life in that voice. He can, when he wants to, and when place and time where he can hear himself and prepare himself, he can still sound like Paul McCartney. So, yeah, no, this has been a good one. Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
Fred?
Very good rocker. I have not seen Paul in concert since 2017. And that was about the point where you could hear a little bit of the roughness of the voice starting there. And you guys have seen Paul in concert more than I have since then. So it seems that he sounds better on the rockers than he does like on the ballads. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Pretty
Yeah.
much,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, one of the things that I kind of explained on things we said today, and this is through my wife who studies voice, is that Paul has lost a lot of his mid-range. He's good at low notes, he's good at falsetto, but sometimes when he's better at doing Paperback Writer, screaming it, or Helter Skelter, screaming it,
Yeah.
than singing Blackbird.
Yeah.
His voice can be really strained there on a song like that. And yet, on this album, there's a lot of mid-rangey stuff where he sounds fine.
Yeah.
So, I think that the struggles that Paul has had come more from the fact that he's been touring a lot. He gives you 3-hour shows, unlike the days of Wings when Denny Lane would sing lead on 5 songs. He's singing lead on every song.
Yeah.
And, they make such a big deal about him not having a sip of water. That's not exactly a good thing for your voice to not drink during your show. Um, I just think that he's of the mindset of he's always been able to do this. I'm going to keep on doing this. And
Right.
he's got to be, he's certainly aware of his limitations now. But whatever has been done here on this album, it has worked wonders. It
Yeah.
makes me realize that he still has a good voice. Um, and it all depends upon, the right takes. And another thing that I've mentioned here is that Paul's one of those people, and I don't know how many artists are like this. He's at his worst when he's on television and he's got 1 or 2 songs to sing. When he's in concert, he starts off kind of shaky, but as the show goes on, he gets stronger and stronger. So I noticed that with Barry Manilow, a few years ago when I saw him. He didn't sound too good in the beginning. And a lot of his songs, he's got to sing very high.
Yeah.
And he sounded great the rest of the show. So it's a weird thing, the voice,
Right,
how to explain it.
right. Um, it brings to mind to me the last Monkees concert with Michael Nesmith before he passed away.
Mm.
And Daniel and no, Gail, did you see the last tour with
I did.
Nesmith?
I saw it in
I did.
A couple of
yeah,
times, yeah.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
got me was at the beginning because he was not completely well, and he started the shows a little shaky, but then I noticed, and everybody else around me knows, as the show went on, he got stronger and stronger and stronger because he was feeding on the love that was being generated from the audience
Yeah.
and all that. And that's to me is what I think is with Paul, is that he'll start a little shaky, and then as he goes on, he gets stronger. And I guess it's the adrenaline, it's the excitement, it's the emotions that he feels from the fans. And I think that's a very good thing. And I kind of wish that he would get in touch with the same vocal teacher that Mickey Dolenz uses,
Mm.
you know, because Mickey Dolenz has preserved his voice beautifully.
Oh,
He still
incredible. Yeah,
he still sounds like Mickey Dolenz, you know.
yeah, he does.
He does, yeah.
Okay, so who
You know
hasn't
what?
gone yet on this track here? Come inside.
Hmm.
Are we
Oh,
rolling? Okay. All right,
Yeah,
so the
you know
next
what,
track would be
guys? Hold
Never.
on a second. You know
Oh,
what? I
Gail,
gotta,
I'm sorry.
I'm being summoned. I gotta tap out. So,
Okay.
look
well,
All
forward
right,
Gail,
to
Gail,
thank
seeing
it
you
you
was
guys
for.
great
again
seeing
Good to
soon.
you.
see you.
Bye.
Good
Bye,
night.
Thank you, Gail.
Gail.
I'll see you soon, all right?
Yep.
Yeah, actually,
Take care.
I don't think I said anything about Come Inside. I'll just briefly mention that.
Sure, kid,
Yeah,
please.
that's one of my favorite tracks. Great rocker, as everybody has said. Paul sounds fantastic on it. I even think this could have been the album opener because the whole theme of Come Inside My Mind, because that's exactly what you're
Mm,
doing on
yeah.
this album. He's inviting you inside his mind and his
Yeah.
memories and where he is now in life. So, I mean, he could have even started with this, but I know
Step,
July there sets a different tone.
step,
But yeah,
yeah.
can't wait to hear this live.
Yeah. Step
Yeah.
inside love.
Yeah, right. Hmm.
Similarly, there's a track called Never Know, which
Hmm.
is as it I don't think it's the greatest song on the album, but I think it's got some really good production. I like the backing vocals on it very much. I like there's like a I'm gonna call it the salt and pepper flute. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but it just makes me think of that era, and he sort of throws that in there towards the middle, and then there's a great guitar solo over the end that I really liked. Um, I thought it was that made that track very strong. Um, so Kit, when you want to share about that one?
Yeah, this to me was also not one of the big highlights, but I did like it musically. I like some of the bass lines Paul was playing on this, chord changes. I think there was some backwards guitar loops in this before the second verse.
Hmm.
I believe that's when it was, and and then yes, the recorder. It's actually I think it's a recorder, and
What
I
is
and I
okay?
think and I think Paul plays it. And it was an interesting, a little bit of an offbeat touch to it. As I said, not a big highlight for me, but a pleasant listen and yeah, just you see, Paul hasn't lost a step. And when it comes to that guitar playing as well as the bass.
Absolutely fantastic, Fred.
It's a nice song. I agree with Kit. It's a very good song. It's one of the longer songs on the album. As You Lie There is the longest one, and it's good. I like it very much.
Good, Daniel.
I'll agree with everybody, and this is another one I would love to hear him play live. I want to see. I still am waiting for him to do a record with. I mean, a lot of these guys played on Driving Rain, which is how we got them all together. I still want him to make one more record with this band. Like you've been playing with these guys now 25 years. I want to
Yeah.
see what they can bring to some of these songs.
Good
So
point.
next one, Paul. Next one.
But any thoughts on that regards to why he doesn't use the band?
Some of it is, I'm sure he thinks, well, I've done that. I did, a lot of these guys played on Driving Rain. Now they're my touring band and this and that. And also, I think, Paul's Paul. He wants to go a different way and go ways people don't expect. But I still
He's
think,
gonna zig. He's gonna zag.
yep, yep. But I don't know. Surprise us, Paul. Make one more, write a whole bunch of rock songs and play 'em with this band. See what happens. Yeah.
That's good. Ken?
Um, this is the only song that I have a problem with on the album. I'm gonna feel like Alan Kozin here because he said the same thing I was thinking. I'm not crazy about that oh, in the song when Paul sings that, it's not such a great melody. I do like the recorder being in there and it has like an Irish feel the last minute or so when they're
Mhm.
jamming there. I do like how the song kind of ends in an a cappella
Hmm.
type
Mm,
thing. I thought that was really cool. I just don't think it's a strong song at the moment.
mm,
That could
yeah.
change though.
Okay. All right. Fred, you want to start us off on Home to Us?
Oh yeah, this, the song with Ringo. I love it. Um, it again is one of these nostalgic songs that connects both of them. You know that they're talking about. Obviously, they're talking about Liverpool and aspects of Liverpool. Paul's side of the pond and Ringo's side of the pond, and and I love it. Even though, as some others have pointed out, this is not the first time they duetted together. I mean, there's
Walk
uh,
with you.
Walk with
Yeah.
Walk
you.
with You,
Yeah.
and before that, Beautiful Night. You
Mhm.
know,
Hey, is that a duet? How do you
Yeah.
define a duet? Because they're not alternating lines,
Yeah, this is
And
like a full-on duet we're doing
yeah,
here.
yeah.
but but
In that respect, yeah, it is the first duet.
Mhm.
But and Walk with You, yeah, that's definitely a duet.
Mhm.
And if you go back to Act Naturally, you hear Ringo and Paul pretty clear on that.
yeah, but
So
that's just harmonizing. They're not
mm,
trading vocals. To me, when I think of a duet, you got to hear each person in the clear, alone, singing solo back and
Mm.
forth. That's a
okay,
duet to me
o-
anyway, you know.
okay, okay. Uh, all right, that's true. But yeah, I love the song. I love the fact that they're both singing together. And I mentioned this earlier in the podcast that I had put Paul's album and Ringo's new album on a shuffle. And both albums sort of like they have similar themes in a way. And they sort of match together. They were like a song of Paul comes on, then followed by a Ringo song, which sort of links to the song I just heard with Paul. So I'm gonna try that sometimes. It's pretty interesting, especially the title song "Long Long Road" definitely would have fit on this album with Paul. So yeah, I totally love the fact that Paul and Ringo are together on this track. And is Ringo doing the drumming or is it Paul?
I think it's
That's
Ringo.
Ringo. It's
It
Ringo
is, it is Ringo. Okay, cool. I know Paul is doing the drumming on the majority of the album, right?
Yeah.
on the rest
Okay.
of it.
Mhm.
On the
Yeah.
rest of it, got it.
Mhm.
Imagine how
Yeah.
strong his arms must be. I
Yeah.
mean, we're going back to 84 years old, 80, whatever.
Mhm.
You know, that to me, that's just amazing. These people that have kept themselves healthy and so forth, and meanwhile they did lead quite an adventurous life. Let's call it that. And so it's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Kit, you want to share about Home to Us?
Yeah, I love this track. This is one of my favorites on the album. They sound fantastic together. I'm glad they're finally doing a full on duet. Ringo's drumming, solid as a rock as it always is. And
Yeah.
I just love the lyrics to this because they're not over romanticizing Liverpool and the
No, they're
environment
not.
they grew up in. I mean, I love that because that they're saying, yeah, it was rough. We didn't have a lot of money. This was post World War II, where they were living among bombed out buildings and all that, but it was home to them. And I love some of the lines that are like they sound like they're going to be these beautiful memories, and then they take a turn. Like my mom was in the kitchen washing dishes in the sink, and then she burned the toast. I
Mm.
mean, I love that.
It has
I
a
just
Ruddles touch to it, I
it
think.
does. It does kind of. Yeah, you're right. And the roses in the yard began to wilt and then they turned to dust, but it was home to us. I just think that's so clever. Love this track.
Now, someone had commented that when they heard the song, they couldn't tell which one was Paul and which one was Ringo.
That was
Hmm.
me in the beginning.
Yes, there you go.
They're very similar
Yeah.
in their voices there. You had to listen real carefully, and now it's obvious. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
in the beginning, I struggled. Yeah.
Okay, who hasn't gone yet on this track? Ken?
Yeah, I think this track is brilliant. It's so damn catchy, and in any other, well, I shouldn't say, in the 70s, this would have been a hit,
Mm.
no doubt
Sure,
about it.
sure.
And I do love all the lyrics. You mentioned the Ruddles. Should I even go into Monty Python like I have on things we said today? Because as soon as I heard the lyrics to this, it made me think of the Four Yorkshiremen sketch where the four
Oh,
guys are hanging out at night, sipping wine and smoking cigars and looking back on their lives and how rough they all had it. And one guy tries to top the other one as to who had the worst life. But the whole idea behind the whole thing was no matter how bad things were, they didn't know any better. In the case of people who lived where Paul lived, um, they were poor, but if everybody else around them was poor, it was normal. They
Yeah.
didn't know that they had it bad.
That's
right,
what my
but we
father
had
used
it
to say
tough.
about the Depression era.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like you know, I was happier when I had nothing.
Yeah.
That whole the beginning of the sketch there, and then they
Yeah.
all talk about how rough their lives were, and one person lived in a corridor, and the other lived in a rolled up newspaper, and
Oh,
it's they all try
the
to top
dream
each
about
other.
living in a corridor.
And we liked it.
That's right.
That
We
was
had
that
it
was
tough.
luxury. Luxury.
So, and once in a while, in a George Harrison interview, he will quote that sketch. He'll say something like luxury,
Mm.
and you either know it or you don't. Or I used to dream of living that way or whatever.
Yeah.
Or my father would slash me with a carving knife, and we liked it.
But we had it lucky.
You were lucky.
You were lucky.
Okay, and Daniel?
I enjoyed this too. I'll agree with everybody. And darn, I just want more Ringo drumming on a Paul record. I know
There you
that
go.
that may be a little bit much to ask, but it's a crazy world out there. More Ringo drumming on a Paul record, please.
Agreed.
Do you know how this song came about? I mean, Paul has talked about this, and even Ringo. He was just playing in the studio some drum track, and for some reason, he just thought maybe that's what Andrew wanted, or maybe he wasn't happy with it, and he left the session. And then Paul remembered that Ringo recorded that, and he said, "Play that back for me." And then he built the whole song around the drum track. It wasn't
Wow.
like the two of them were in the studio together doing that.
Mm.
So that's how brilliant Paul is, that he
Interesting.
could just take that drum track and write something around that.
Yeah.
Right,
And
right,
then
right.
later, Ringo added his vocal after everything else was sent to him.
Wow. Incredible.
That's what they did with Walk with You, right? That Paul heard the track and asked Ringo, "Can I try something here?" And that's where he did
Yeah.
the counter melody.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think that they were in the same studio for that.
Were they?
Right.
With Home to Us, they were never
No.
in the same studio.
No. No, he was
It's
at his home
interesting.
studio.
Yeah.
Ringo. Yeah.
It's
Cool.
it's amazing. All these years later, you can have two Beatles playing completely separate from each other, recording separately, and you hear it later on and go, "Oh, that's the Beatles. That's Paul and Ringo."
Yep.
That's kind of
Right.
amazing. Yeah.
All right, so the next track is going to be called Life Can Be Hard, which is a sort of an up-tempo track that is sort of Days We Left Behind, sort of up tempo. I like the track, although I wish that I call this the Don't Be Careless Love track. In Flowers in the Dirt is a track called Don't Be Careless Love, in which he sings much higher than he should be singing on that particular song. And sometimes I think, even though it's okay, it can get to a point where it's screeching too much. And I think he does that here also on, but it's a lovely little track. Life Can Be Hard. Um, but I wish he had sung it in an octave lower. But it's a pleasant little track. Kit, you want to start us on that one?
Yeah, I would agree. It's just kind of a pleasant track. I actually like the melody and chord changes better than some of the lyrics. I thought I love the changes in the section that maybe the starlight that shines in her eyes sings to the moon in her hair. That section, I really liked musically was happening there, and as I said, the chord changes. But other than that, I just thought the lyrics were okay. Thought he could have used, maybe, and I know Ken's already shaking his head because he well, he'll say in a minute, but I just felt like lyrically this could have used a little more work. But again, I love the melody and the chords in this. So it's just beautiful, classic McCartney melodies.
Yeah.
But just wasn't crazy about the lyrics. A little cliched for me. But that's me.
And Ken, your rebuttal?
Yep.
First of all, about Don't Be Careless Love.
Oh man, you ticked him off too, Ed.
No, I've very often said that when Flowers in the Dirt came out, that was the only song I could not wrap my head around. I just couldn't get into it. And then eventually I loved it. And one of the things I loved most of all was Paul's vocals and how high he went. It was so, I mean, I never heard him sing that high. His vocals there are absolutely incredible, especially the a cappella stuff that he does at the very beginning. So that's a track that I now look at as being, well, I was really wrong about that song. It's very quirky. It's got that Elvis Costello feel to it because they wrote it together. But I love Don't Be Careless Love.
Cool.
As far as Life Can Be Hard, this is the real jewel on this album. I look at it as being like a standard. It could have fit on Kisses on the Bottom. I love his high voice on there. The part that Kit was referring to. I love his vocals right there. And it's kind of like the same vocals he did on Days We Left Behind. It's a beautiful melody. I actually think of it as being like a standard or something that could fit into a Broadway show or maybe a movie. It has sort of a hearkening to a 30s, 40s feel to it. Not necessarily a When I'm 64 song, but it could fit from that kind of era. And the way it's all arranged with the violin in there and the clarinet, it's just impeccably done. It's I said on my podcast, just for this one song, it's worth the cost of the CD.
Oh.
Wow.
I love this song as well as most of the others, but it's wonderful. It's gorgeous.
Well, I love the melody and I like the idea behind it and the fact that he wrote this during COVID and life can be hard, and it's just very pretty. It's just so it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. Fred, you want to share about what you think?
Yes, I agree with what Ken just said, that this Life Can Be Hard could have been used in a Broadway show. It's that kind of a song. It's very beautiful. I know he wrote it for Nancy. This is one of the Nancy songs in this album. And this is the one that he says, I love you, right? They,
I mean, like she loves him. Part
that's
of
the
Mama
one.
Gets By. That's Mama Gets By.
Okay. Yeah, that's I was mixing them up. But yeah, I agree. The song is very beautiful. It's very sweet sentiment, and you could see that Nancy's now the person in his life after Linda. We'll bypass the other one. So
Yeah.
He did write a
but
few
no,
songs for the other one.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did.
he did do a couple, and I actually like the song Heather.
So do
There's
I.
only like a little bit of lyrics. I always felt that maybe he should do that just as an instrumental, take the words out, you know.
It's a very it's a very pretty instrumental, yeah.
Yeah,
Change it to Nancy.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
It works.
And I this is my own personal thing about the song Heather, is that I felt that song should have started the album, Driving Rain, in my opinion.
Lonely Road is perfect.
It's good, but I kind of think that it's just my opinion that I thought that
Okay.
Heather might have been a good album opener, but what do I know? But no, Life is Hard is a very good song, and I love the sentiments in it.
All right, Daniel, what do you think?
I heard you may remember he played the first verse of this during McCartney 321.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to hear the whole song. And the chorus goes in a different place. If you just heard the verse that he's working out in McCartney, in the McCartney 3-2-1, you go, okay, well, that's a good song. But the chorus goes somewhere else, which I like. Again, as somebody who's sometimes I've been trying to make myself follow modern pop music and keep up with all the things that the kids and the youths are into. Like, wow, chord changes. Unexpected, sections to songs. More, please. So
Yes.
yeah.
Just as a side, do you ever see these videos of young people listening like older songs and
Oh,
Oh,
their
reaction
opinions on them?
videos.
Yeah.
Reaction videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep,
always interesting. It's fun. I always interested to see who gets it. And some kids, well, and that's again hearing like Beatle records. Like if you've been hearing modern pop and then you hear Sgt. Pepper, that is kind of a shock to the system.
Yeah.
And I will give that. I will give him. I'll give him that credit. But I think good music. Good music. Somebody will get it sooner or later. That's always my philosophy.
Right.
I remember I think my 12-year-old nephew at the time, we were doing karaoke in the basement of their house, and they did Frank Sinatra's song about not Young and Hot, it's the other one, it's like that. And he was just so into it. He enjoyed it so much. I was like, wow, I never expected that you would be singing that song.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
got the same reaction from my young niece when we watched Yellow Submarine together.
yeah.
She really liked the songs.
Yep.
One of my favorite things when we do Fab Fest here in Charlotte every October is that there's always a 4-year-old or 6-year-old who has just gotten into the Beatles. And it's the most awesome thing because, I mean, all of us have different frames of reference for the Beatles, depending on our age and when we got into it. But for them, it's happening now. Like the Beatles are now. And it's just like, oh, man, here's all my records. Here's the Left Bank. Here's the Monkees. We'll have an awesome life. Yeah.
Oh, I love it when I go to the not Monkees, Mickey Dolenz concerts, and you see a lot of young kids at these shows.
Yeah.
And that's very gratifying to see that.
Absolutely.
I think it all comes down to whether or not young people are exposed to older music. I mean, to me, anything that's sold in the past can sell again, maybe not in the same numbers, but it all comes down to whether or not they get to hear it. So anyone that thinks that young people can only relate to their music of the time is so wrong.
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Look,
I don't care whether it's Beatles or the Monkees or the Left Bank or Gary Puckett in the Union Gap. If people liked it before, some people today would still like it if they
Right.
heard it.
yeah.
I mean, it's very sad in England that Cliff Richard does not get the radio airplay he used to get. And he told a story about some kids who came to one of his shows. Says, "We don't hear your songs on the radio." Says, "Well, talk to the radio people. Tell them to play them." You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big gripe that I have, whether it's Paul McCartney or Ringo Starr or anybody that's a veteran in the business, they can't get their music played. I mean, Paul, the Rolling Stones, when a new album comes out, it gets minimal airplay for a couple of weeks at best, and radio stations let it die. They only get airplay out of respect for who they are
Right.
because they feel that the only people who are going to buy the music are younger people. They're not going to go and listen to an 83-year-old and his latest
Right.
album. So the success of albums these days is really predetermined
Yeah.
for the veteran artists, which is why you get all these variants coming out of Paul McCartney's album to help the album to boost it up so that it'll chart high.
Yeah.
And that's the game they have to play, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's number two on it's number 2 on iTunes.
Oh,
All
Very
right.
cool. Very
great.
cool.
I'm happy for it, but
Yeah.
it in the old days, the songs and the albums got airplay, the public responded to it, and
Yeah.
it did really well. It's not that way for veterans anymore of all
No.
genres,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on to the next and the final section of the album, we have First Star of the Night. This is my favorite song from the album. In my opinion, it's absolutely gorgeous. I think the title itself as soon as I saw it in the preview of the album, it's like, oh, this is gonna be like an orchestral masterpiece, something like that. And instead, it's more of a intimate acoustic song, and it's just very beautiful. Um, and actually not so much in acoustic, but it's a full band, but it sort of has that effect, that intimate effect that an acoustic has. I wanted this to be the final track on the album because I think it just kind of wraps it up really nicely. But I'll take it anywhere on the album. That's my feeling, and I'm sticking to it. Daniel?
I will agree. This is one of my favorite songs, and I would love to have this be the album closer as well. But as we were discussing earlier, if Dave Dexter gets hold of this and lops off 2 to 3 songs, he may have this on the closer. I can hear him adding a lot of train echo to Mountaintop. So,
Okay, Fred?
I like the song too. I love it. It's an acoustic tune, and I love it when Paul does acoustic. And you guys got your wish if you get it on iTunes, because the demo is the last song on the album.
Yeah.
And it's the demo is not that much different from the album version, but it's very nice, both versions. And yeah, I agree. It's a really nice acoustic song.
It.
Yeah, boy, I feel like I'm the rebel here. I wasn't as crazy about this song, although I found it interesting. It's a little bit like in an extension of My Valentine, in terms of in My Valentine's and What If It Rained, We Didn't Care. Said someday soon the sun was going to shine, and here, you hear Paul kind of mutter at the beginning, it's raining in Costa Rica. And then he sings, even when it's raining inside, something tells me it's all right. Positive emotions that died seem to come back, shining bright like the first star in the night. So there's this kind of similar imagery of rain and eventually the sun will come out again, and or love. Love will conquer all, and so it's interesting thematically, as I said, kind of a sequel to My Valentine. But
It's interesting.
yeah, I just wasn't as
Cool.
crazy. I mean, I just didn't connect with this one as much as you guys did. But I found that interesting. I just thought, oh, it's kind of like My Valentine Part Two in some ways.
And Ken?
This was another sleeper for me, but I love the song now. I love the delivery of it. I love the soft vocals of Paul. It's another song that probably could have worked on Kisses on the Bottom. I like the demo, which, like you said, Fred, is very much like this release version. It's just Paul and an acoustic guitar, and it works just on that level. I do like, even going back to, if you talk about real soft vocals with an acoustic arrangement, going back to something like I Will, is kind of like the start of something like that for Paul. And now it's becoming more common for that kind of vocal delivery. And the melody's really simple and it's just perfect the way that it is. I really love it, but it doesn't have to be the last song on the album because I love the last song where it is.
Yes, we will talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, now the McCartney covers the Monkees with a song called Salesman. I'm sorry.
No.
It's Salesman's Saint.
are you
Not
getting
the
so
Monkees
high?
song.
Well, he has.
You got to work the Monkees in somehow.
Yeah, he has sung the Monkees theme. There's videos of him singing it.
Yes. But Salesman Saint, tremendous track. In my ears, it feels like it hears like it's in the similar vein to Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey, because it's got like 2 parts to it. I enjoyed how he's writing about his parents, and we've heard him write about his mother several times through the years. Never so much his father. So this was interesting to get a little bit of a picture of their relationship and their struggles during World War II and the aftermath of World War II. I really enjoyed the instrumentation, and particularly the big band arrangement in the second half of the song. That blew my mind when I heard that. And then I keep hearing this track, I keep playing it. Like, it's just so beautiful the way he put that in there. So it's just magnificent the way that he arranged this particular song. So I'm going to start, Ken, with you on this one.
I like this song a lot. Um, in terms of the song structure, it's kind of interesting that he does have two different time signatures. He goes from 3/4 into 4/4, which the Beatles did on Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But then at the very end of the song, when you hear the hand clapping, they got two different time signatures going on at the same time. Which, I did say in things we said today, I'm pretty sure they did the same thing in Happiness is a Warm Gun. But I like the melody. I like the whole storyline of how both parents struggled. The line about they survived on cigarettes and tea, that kind of line, that kind of thing. How the radio was an important thing for them. It gives you an idea of what they went through. And Paul's talked a bit about this in his interviews, that it was wartime and they had to struggle, and just the mere fact that both parents worked in order to earn a living. I used to think that it was always that the man was the breadwinner. In the McCartney household, Jim, the father, was a cotton salesman, but he also was a part-time musician, volunteer firefighter. Maybe they didn't make enough money from that. So the mother had to work as a midwife. And so, times were tough. But at the same time, as we know from Home to Us, this was life for them. They didn't know any better. This was a normal life. So they didn't
like
really
bird
know.
toast.
I used to dream of having burnt toast.
And we liked it. We loved it.
We liked it.
We used to dream of coffee grounds.
And if you told the youngsters that this story, they'd never believe you.
That's
right.
Daniel?
But yeah, I really
I'm
like
sorry,
the song.
Ken, you want to continue?
No, but I really like the song a lot.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah,
Daniel?
I like it. Starts with almost like a Spanish guitar riff, and then the big band comes in, and it's like, whoa, okay. So and full disclosure, I got to do photos with the Glenn Miller Orchestra a few months ago. So bring the big band in any day in my life. So it's a nice song. And again, he's written about family, but he's never really written about his parents. So that's interesting.
Let It Be, Mother Mary.
Yeah, it's like one or the other, but never really about their life together. As we know, he lost his mom way too early. It's nice to hear a song about as they were together.
Fred?
I love the sentiment in the song, and I agree. The big band stuff is fantastic on this song. This to me is like one of the other tear jerkers on the album because of the reminiscences in it, and it makes you think about your own family. I mean, I listened to this song, and I thought about my own parents, how they had to struggle for our family, and made me appreciate, now that they're no longer with me, it made me appreciate more what they used to do for us. So that, to me, makes the song not only personal on Paul's case, it makes it personal for me and anybody else who's going through this.
Sure. And Kit?
Yeah, I thought there were some really interesting things musically going on here. The drums that have at the beginning, that military march kind of sound, and the trumpet, which I'm assuming is kind of a nod to his father, who played the trumpet and piano. But it almost has like a mariachi sound at the beginning. And, you were kind of alluding to that, Daniel, with the Spanish guitar, and I mean, really interesting. And then, as you all said, the big band comes in, and there were some really, poignant lines here. Ken, you already mentioned a couple you liked. I also thought "Another Generation Yearning to Be Free." this sort of vicious cycle of that he's suggesting here, learning how to keep it together and raise a family. And then that line he repeats, they couldn't take anymore, but they had to carry on.
Yeah.
I mean, it really it just shows you, how rough things got in post-World War II
Sure.
for England and Liverpool. And so, it was an emotional track.
Yeah.
Does the big band stuff that's kind of remind you of Love in the Open Air?
A little bit.
That's a good
A
point.
little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I
So the
stopped
next
everybody.
track, the last track on the album.
I was going to drop a Walking in the Park with Eloise.
Yeah, that's the other one. That's the other
Oh,
one.
there you are.
That's a
And Kid,
great.
I want to thank you for mentioning the trumpeting, because
Mm-hmm.
that was Jim McCartney's instrument, and it was
Yes.
Paul's first instrument, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's right.
So it's
Mhm.
interesting then that, because I remember hearing that in the arrangement. I'm like, I don't normally hear that particular trumpet in
Mhm.
his work too much, but it was
But
very
you
nice
could
to hear
hear him.
that.
You could hear him playing the trumpet too when the Saints go marching in at
Yes,
the end
Yeah.
of the Stephen Colbert show.
that's right.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, that's
Oh,
right. You did.
there's another one, Catwalk. Isn't that another one that has sort of like a
It has trumpet.
Mhm.
yeah,
That's the Chris Barber version of the
right.
Oh
song.
yeah.
But it actually sounds like a Herb Alpert recording, the way that it
Mhm.
was done. But when it was first written, it was Cat Walk, and it
Mhm.
was an instrumental that the Beatles did, and the melodic line there was done on the guitar.
Yeah,
Yep.
and anybody watching this podcast is going to start searching for those songs now.
They
Absolutely.
probably know them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Now, I
now we
have a
get to,
comment regarding the last track on the album, Mama Gets By,
Mhm.
and I'd like to ask you to respond to that in addition to your own feelings on the song.
Mhm.
Um, again, it's the closing track, and it's sort of like another section of the song Salesman Saint in my ears. That, of course, again, he's talking about Mama.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering who Mama is in this song. And I'm thinking to myself, was he writing this from the perspective of his children? Because it made me think of the early days after the Beatles breakup, when Paul was struggling and Linda was taking care of everything, and Paul was getting high, Mama was getting by, and the children were being taken care of. So I'm thinking that maybe this is in the vein of Mary and Heather, or I guess it might have just been Heather at the time.
Mhm.
And if that's something that is uh, is something that is a possible inspiration for the song.
Mhm.
Fred, what do you think?
are you referencing that it could be about Linda?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's Linda.
I could see that. I can see that. I think maybe it's a conglomeration of his own mother, of Linda, maybe currently with, uh,
Oh, Fred,
with
don't lose it. Don't
Nancy,
lose your.
Oh,
but
There you
it
go.
probably is closer to Linda.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back,
yep.
folks. But yeah, I think it's probably closer to Linda, but I think he combined it uh all together. And it's another one of those songs, I think, to me, is the other tearjerker on this album. And again, it brought to mind memories of my own mother, and I'm sure it does for you guys too. So yeah, I to me it's a combination of memories of his mother, of Linda, and probably going into his relationship currently with Nancy.
Mhm.
Okay. Daniel?
I will agree with that. To me, this obviously there's a very familial tie. There was an arc that I think he was intending for the end of this record, but I think I think maybe it's all of them. It's all pieces of all of them into one song. So yeah,
Okay. And what do you agree with the others?
I agree. I agree with him. Yes.
Mhm.
I never even thought about it until you brought this
I
up,
didn't
you
either.
know, because it could be about any couple,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but if you're thinking Mama gets by while Papa gets high, then you could be thinking with Paul and Linda, Paul got high a lot,
Mhm.
but yeah, I could see it being about a combination of these, but it could also be like a universal thing, like so many things that Paul has written about. It could
Yeah,
be about any couple.
sure.
I think that we should all ask him this question and get an answer out of it.
Kit, next time you
I
guys have him on, talk more talk
You
or things we said today, then
oh,
there you go.
the next time,
Yeah.
the
like
next
we've
The
time.
had him
next
already.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You three guys have more of an end than we do. You
Yeah.
know.
Um,
All
Oh,
right, cool. So
yeah.
that's the album. Now, Kit, you wanted to share?
Oh no, just that I hadn't thought of that Linda connection either, but I also kind of thought of this as a sort of in a way, an extension of like Lady Madonna.
Hmm.
Like
That's
the
a thought.
character in Lady Madonna, or even if Eleanor Rigby got married. I mean,
Hmm.
the image of this strong woman, trying to keep her family together and working hard but that section, I was at first a little unsure about the song on first listen, but then as I listened to it again and again, boy, I found myself that melody of the part of she loves him with all her heart and soul. That section, I found
Yeah.
myself like it like got stuck in my head. I mean, I'm like, so I thought, okay, the song's a little more effective than I thought. And I love that section particularly. Just beautiful
Yeah.
chord changes. It does kind of bring a tear to your eye, that part.
That's what got me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
the line where he says that it wasn't so long ago that she agreed to become his wife.
Hmm.
That's what made me think of Linda.
Hmm.
The only thing
Hmm.
I could think of, because seemed to be struggling, and he's talked about that so much that
Hmm.
why wouldn't that be somehow in this kind of an album that it would eventually come out in an album.
Hmm.
Anyway, this has really been a very interesting discussion tonight, and so glad to have all my special guests with me tonight. And so what we're gonna do is just go around the table, ask everybody to um I'll introduce each of them and then just kind of share what we're doing, what's our next project. Daniel, we'll start with you. Daniel, of course, we know is a photographer, la great photographer and a producer of music and all kinds of things. He's the king of Charlotte, North Carolina, as far as any event that happens there.
Very
Uh,
true.
and
Very true.
Thank you.
uh, and so Charlotte, so Daniel, what are you up to?
Well, and thanks first to everybody who checked in on me the last couple months. It is really good to see everybody again. So, producing projects. So yes, out Friday, Harpo Speaks, the Riverside Symphony concert. I still love saying this phrase. I'm working with the Marx Brothers. I love this. So look forward to this. This is
wow.
a one, basically this is Harpo's final recording where he not only plays the harp, he narrates Peter and the Wolf. First time that the Marx family has allowed Harpo's voice to be on record. So I'm excited about that. In July, you'll get to see this on vinyl. It's the Circles album Revival. Revival. We're also releasing "He Can Fly" as a single next month, so please check that out. And of course, I mentioned the Strawberry Alarm Clock. I didn't produce it, but I nearly did. And it's out in August. It's called "Where's One." It's an amazing record. Again, you're talking about musicians that have been playing together for 60 years and they make a record is as good if not better than any record they've ever made. That's why we stay in this business. That's why we have hope for the future. Folks like McCartney and the Alarm Clock are making good stuff. And Ringo,
And
God
Ringo.
bless.
And
Ringo.
Ringo, and Ringo. Well, you know
Ringo.
that Circle album with the new single "He Can Fly." That's a great song.
I
And
love that.
fortunately, I've gotten to hear it the last couple of years in the earliest release of that, and
Mhm.
so hope that they have a great success with that.
Thank you.
And so hopefully, if they come back to play anywhere near me, I definitely will get out to see them.
Me
Yeah,
too.
Cool. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel, is that coming out on CD also? The
Actually,
Circle?
this is the album that came out on CD 2 years ago.
Yep.
We reformatted it. We've changed things around, so it's a straight up 12-song album. It's actually the album we originally intended to release 2 years ago. And
okay.
so I'm very proud of it. And yeah, He Can Fly was a song that Tom Dawes recorded with Andrew Sandoval in 2003. And I found it one night going through my CDs, and I went, oh, I'm going to give this to Don. So that's how He Can Fly came together. So yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of that. I also mentioned too that the Chad and Jeremy final double album of recordings that I've been working on the last 2 years is now set for release early next year. There's a Kickstarter page coming soon. Please come check it out. And yes, we'll be back doing Fab Fest in October, and there's lots of other stuff going on. So once again, thank you all. I love you more than you know, and good to see you again.
Daniel. And then we have Fred Velez, who is the author of several Monkees books and Monkees Facebook pages and Monkees this and Monkees that. Fred, what do you got coming on?
Okay, well, my two books, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, The Monkees from a Fan's Perspective, and my most current book, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You 2, The Monkees from International Fan Perspectives. So these you can get on print and Kindle on Amazon. Autographed copies you can get on my website, freddiePop.wordpress.com. I don't know if you can see that okay, but here we go. freddiePop.wordpress.com. You can get autographed copies there. And coming up in September, the Monkees 60 convention, celebrating the Monkees 60th anniversary. And I'll be there as part of a authors panel. And my pals, the Characters, will be one of the bands there. And there'll be other surprises and names to be dropped very soon as we get closer to the date. That's going to be September 4th, 5th, and 6th in North Haven, Connecticut. So if you go on Facebook, look up M60 Convention, you'll find all the information there. Our pal Charles Rosenay is producing the convention.
Yes, I'll be there too. Very much looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. Okay, then we have the queen of all Beatles media. Her name is Kit O'Toole, and I've had the great pleasure of working with Kit in many of her classes at Monmouth University, where she teaches us about music from all different genres. And Kit, what do you got coming up?
Well, fairly soon I'll be introducing my next class in the fall, and I think you'll like it, Ed. It's not about the Partridge Family. I'm sorry to say it isn't.
You got to work that
Darn.
But I think you'll like it. So yeah, that announcement will be coming soon. You can check out my other show. Well, actually, two other shows. Things We Said Today. As well as thank you, Daniel, as well as Toppermost of the Poppermost, which is, you can find, thank you again, all the episodes at toppermostofthepoppermost.net. We'll be dropping some new episodes soon, so please subscribe. And then Ken Womack and I are going to be back doing our show, Classic for a Reason. We're doing our next one June 23rd, which will be looking at Buddy Holly's The Master Tapes collection. Really looking forward to that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
Yep. I'll post all the info about it on my Facebook page and all that. So you can check it out. And then another one I'm excited about. The next one we'll be doing is August 18th. We'll be doing Tears for Fears songs from the Big Chair. That's
a great album.
That's a big album for me
Yeah.
from my youth. So really looking forward to that. And you can find out more about me at kidotoole.com. And Ed, once again, thank you so much for having me on. It's great to be with all of you guys.
It's always fun.
You're
And
all
Kit
friends.
is also the author of the songs songs we were singing, which is the guided tour to Beatles lesser known tracks.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael Jackson FAQ. So get out there on Amazon and look up Kit O'Toole's books. And then last but not least, we have Ken Michaels, who is well known for being DJ in WFUD. I think it's 89 point
FDU.
FDW FDU. Well, you can just do the whole thing. I know you do it very well, but I want to give you the props of all the, he has two podcasts, things we said today, every little thing, talk about talk, and
Right.
Michael's radio. Oh, sorry, too many things. And but no, Ken, it's a real pleasure to have you here with us tonight,
Okay.
returning guest. And anything coming up that we should know about?
Well, first of all, basically, you should just say that I just follow Kit around with everything that I do. That's how if you want to summarize everything, wherever she is, I'll be right behind
Someone has to
So-
carry the train.
That's right. That's right. That crown gets really heavy, and sometimes
He wears the crown.
Yeah.
So the latest things we said today, which we just recorded right before doing this,
Yes.
was about the boys of Dungeon Lane, and that should be out probably by tomorrow. This coming week, I have at least 2 shows that will be on my YouTube channel, Ken Michaels Radio. I'm going to be doing a Beatles Preferences show, which is a feature I've been doing a few times, and Ed Rising will be one of the guests on it.
Well, cool.
Looking
In
forward to
fact, I
that.
think I'll
Should be
get
fun.
Daniel to do it. I think he'd be great on it.
Oh,
Fred, were you on
yeah.
one of those?
On which one? The
The
contest
Beatles
one?
Preferences, not the trivia, but the Beatles Preferences show.
No, I have not. No, I haven't.
I'll have to get you on that. It's basically I take 2 or 3 songs, Beatles or solo or albums, and you have to tell me which one you prefer to listen to. Not necessarily what you think is better or the best, but what you feel like listening to now, and then you explain why. It's just a kind of a cool idea. So, if I said We Can Work It Out or Day Tripper, then you pick the one that you like more. Not like more, but what you feel like listening to more. So
Yeah,
Ed's going to be part of the one that we're recording on Wednesday. That should be up Wednesday night or Thursday. And then Thursday, I have a brand new show, which is The Beatles, The Tough Questions. And they're all questions. There's about 5 of them that really, it's all opinion generated. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's the kind of thing where all you do is express an opinion of, how you feel about a certain thing, the subject in the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, one of them will be, did the Beatles make a mistake in not releasing Leave My Kitten Alone when they recorded it? Something like that. So you
Yeah.
share your opinion about that. There's no right or wrong answer to this, but questions like those, So I
Cool.
have 3 guests for that show that'll be going up this Thursday.
Well,
And
cool.
then
That
there's-
sounds
Yeah.
like fun. I stunk on the trivia one. So
Yes, you did. I can confirm that.
thanks very much, Ken.
That's-
I trouble with that one too, Ken.
Woo!
Fred. But
But-
look,
Tough room.
that sounds all great and wonderful, and I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. Ed's Pop-O-Matic Podcast, a retro pop culture podcast where everything retro beats the new. Get out there, listen, buy, stream, whatever. The new Paul McCartney Boys of Dungeon Lane album. It's a ripper, as our friend Plastic EP would say. So. So good night, everyone, and thank you so much for being here.
Yep.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care, guys.